Alright, back to the rest of the list. Next is The Shy Hero and the Assassin Princesses. No clue what this is about whatsoever. Might be a isekai, might be just a regular fantasy, might be something else entirely. Who knows? I have not seen anyone talk about this, so let's find out.
Alright, this one I can very firmly categorize as an instance of an interesting premise completely ruined by execution. And the only reason I got halfway through the first episode is because I was just genuinely curious where this was going. Because, boy, they fucking speed through a lot of shit. I feel like in another show, the first 9 minutes would at least be like the first 12 minutes, if not the entire first episode. Because they fucking speed through that goddamn thing. Not that there's a lot of substance to flesh out, but it just feels like they are skipping substance that should be there. Also, the gag about the hero being shy and awkward got old the second time that it happened. And I know it's going to keep happening because that's the title of the show. And I don't care for it. It's so boring. And lame. Also, the character designs in this fucking suck. 2 of the characters are just baseball bats with balloons tied to them to make titties. And then there's the lolly, which is the only sensible design out of the 3 of them. And also the animation's not particularly good. I am curious as to why there's just guns in this, like gun magic. But aside from that, don't care. Don't like how it's written. Don't like how it looks. It's not good.
Alright, Shy Hero is off the list. Up next, Bâan, The Boundary of Adulthood. This is Giguk's anime, a short film that he put up on his YouTube channel, or some YouTube channel, I believe. Saw a lot of people talk about this one when it came out. I know it's a Thai-themed isekai. Not sure how that's going to play out. I don't really know a lot about Thai culture, but maybe I'll pick up something from it. And I don't think it's very long. So let's go for it.
Alright. Bravo, Giguk. You made it. You achieved what only a few of us anti-tubers can dream of. Making your own anime. Sure, it was only 17, 18 minutes. It was good. It was fine. It was totally fine. Again, full disclosure, I know absolutely nothing about Thai culture, so anything that was incorporated into this just went completely over my head. So that's probably why I didn't get as much out of it as some people did. But otherwise, it's just a decent little short film, focusing on the themes of just sort of setting out on your own, pushing past the boundaries of adulthood, as the title says, sort of setting out on your own, getting stuff done. It's a fun little fantasy coming of age thing. And yes, it is an isekai, but not in the Naroke isekai sense. This is more of a gate kind of isekai. Although I think gate is also Naroke, but I'm using words wrong. It is a come and go kind of isekai, if that makes any sense. It's basically portal to another fantasy world opens up. And I don't know why I thought this intuitively, but like within like the first minute, for some reason your name popped into my head for no particular reason. I thought it was going to go with the romance route for that, but it was actually it wasn't time travel, but it was the way stuff was cut together initially made you think that things were happening at the same time, but as you go on, like around halfway through, you realize, no, actually, the girl's plotline takes place probably like a decade or so after the plotline with the human guy going to the fantasy world. And we sort of had this like adopted daughter, adopted father kind of scenario there, which I was not expecting. Decent twist, fun little twist. So for some reason my gut said your name. I just couldn't figure out where the your name part was coming from until we got there. Honestly, I don't really have a whole lot else to say besides that. Some of the gags are nice, but fleeting. Really did not notice most of Kevin Penkin's work on this, although it was fine. It does more than a lot of anime soundtracks, I guess. And the very brief bit of action was pretty okay. I liked the monster designs. They felt pretty unique. A lot of the fantasy stuff definitely felt very unique, which I assume is like the Thai culture coming into it. He is Thai, right? I hope to God I'm not using the wrong country and just horribly misrepresenting this. I'm fairly certain he's Thai, and that's where this stuff is coming from. If not, Jesus Christ, I apologize. Anyway. Yeah. I like the character designs are okay. Their personalities are pretty fun. I did definitely sympathize a lot with the main guy in the opening scene of just like his mom just constantly bugging the shit out of him and him just going, please stop bugging me, please. I definitely empathized with him there. Yeah, fun little 18-minute short. If you got time for that, I would check it out. It's just a fun little thing. I don't think I'll ever watch it again, despite its shortness, but yeah, it was fine. Good job, Giguk.
Alright, Bâan is complete. Still don't know if that's actually how it's pronounced, but I'm going with that. We're going to put it right in between Milky Subway and Clevitus in the number 32 spot with a light 6. I also forgot to mention while I was talking about it, it's not paced particularly fast. It is a bit slow as well, so that's why it's probably not in the decent 6 range, but it's a decent time. It's okay. Alright, what's up next? Everyday Host Club. This is a 2-core series, but it's also a short series. I think they're like 3.5-minute episodes. It's about a host club. It's probably a gag series based on the art that I saw, so let's give it a shot.
No. No thanks. Don't want any of that. Do not want. No me gusta. Horribly unfunny. There was one kind of funny gag where he's introducing the new guy to all the other hosts and they're just on their phone not paying attention at all and don't give a shit about what he's saying. That was the one funny gag in it. Otherwise, deeply off-putting and not funny. Don't like the animation. It's like rigging animation, so it's not like traditional hand-drawn stuff. Do not like the character models. Hate most of the personalities. Bad. Next.
Okay. Everyday Host Club. Off the fucking list. Go away. Alright, up next is Bad Girl. This is I believe a Yuri comedy? Or if not that, just a comedy involving girls, I think. I hope it's a Yuri comedy. This is one of the few high dive shows from this season. How many high dive shows do we have? Hold on, I have a whole list here. One, two. So it's this one. Where's my fucking? I have too many tabs up. So yeah, it's this one, and then Call of the Night season 2, and then like sort of the Demon Hunter near the end of this list are the only high dive shows from the season. Let's see if high dive's gonna make it worth the subscription.
No, this is another loud and annoying comedy. I'll give it credit for the main girl being down absolutely fucking horrendous for her senpai, big titty senpai, but this show's not funny. It's just not. The girls are a little cute, but the overall art style and aesthetic are not particularly stand out or interesting or even like well defined or crisp or anything like that. No, it's loud and annoying. That's really all I can say is it's loud and annoying and not all that clever. It's just not very good.
Alright. Bad girl, goodbye. Alright, what's next? 9-9 Ruler's Crown. All I know is this one's unlicensed, and I think it's an adaptation of a visual novel. Did not see a goddamn person even mention this show. So maybe it's a hidden gem? I mean, I didn't really see a lot of people talking about Milky Subway. Let's try it out.
What the fuck was that? Jesus Christ. So, like, I need you to understand what I just since none of you are ever going to watch this, because it's dog shit, rightfully so, you're never going to watch it, you've never heard of it, let me explain to you what happens. In the first 3 to 5 minutes, probably, they burn through probably the entirety of a single core fantasy anime. A little generic, but mildly interesting. It's kind of old school too, so that's kind of cool. But they burn through that in like 3 to 5 minutes. Then it cuts to, oh, this is an animation project. But then, oh, an earthquake happens, and then apparently supernatural things are about to like come into our world. And I think it's from that world that was just described. Honestly, I don't care because it blitzes through shit so fucking fast. And also, once that fucking cramped ass montage stops, the animation just completely goes to dog shit. It is fucking bad. Really terrible character designs, barely moving, not pleasant to look at. It's bad. Also, I hate when this happens a lot in anime where it's like they just carelessly touch something that they know is sharp, that is very obviously sharp, and then they cut themselves on it like they weren't expecting to get cut. Like, do you not know how to pick up something sharp, man? What is wrong with you? This was bad. This might be one of the worst ones of this season. It's definitely up there. This sucked ass.
Okay. Ruler's Crown. Go the fuck away. Next up, Apocalypse Bringer Mynoghra. I think this is an isekai, and I only know that because I had to get a picture of the key visual for it for my Why I Try Out Everything video. And I used a clip from it, I think. And I think it has a really cute elf girl in it, or something akin to an elf girl. So let's see if the show is more than just a cute elf girl.
You remember? Have you seen the the Folding Ideas video where he does the takedown of Nostalgia Critic's review of The Wall. And there's a clip in there where it's something along the lines of cringe. There's no other way to say this. It's just cringe. It's embarrassing. That's this show. It is so unbelievably embarrassing and corny, and it's cringe. It's cringe. This is cringe, and like not the fun kind of cringe. This is like the middle schoolers power fantasy kind of cringe. But we didn't even get to the power fantasy stuff yet. We just got to through the introductions where, so it's an isekai. He gets isekai'd into a fantasy strategy game. And at first I was going to like nitpick the one shot that we have of the actual video game because it was laid out on like a hexagonal grid, but the grid didn't really match like the terrain on top of it, and I was gonna be like, if this isn't a strategy game, then why the fuck is it a hexagonal grid? I play a lot of Civ 6. But I'll give it a pass, since it isn't. He does in fact say that it's a strategy game, so I'll give it a pass. But also, the entirety of this introduction is spent on this guy gets isekai'd and meets his waifu from the game that he plays. And apparently the waifu knows that he was playing a video game that she was in, and she experienced all of the times that he played the game, both successfully and unsuccessfully. And now she wants to be his, like, second in command for real in this, now that he's actually in the fantasy world. Cringe. There's no other way to say it. It's cringe. It's embarrassing. It is so lame. It is so fucking lame. Like, but there's a premise for a cool anime buried in here. Like a revenge kind of thing. Where, like, guy gets isekai'd and the characters that got fucked over by him in the game find him and, like, torture him or something. Like, imagine, like, he just treated this character like shit the entire time, and now she comes face to face with him with the memories of him treating her like cannon fodder. That would be a cool premise. I don't think that's going to show up in this show because, dear Lord, it's lame. And also bad looking. I don't like how this show looks at all. Main character looks like shit. The waifu's kind of cute, but I think her voice is a little mismatched. It's cringe. It's just lame.
Oh, apparently it's pronounced Mynoghra, by the way. I didn't bother looking at the katakana before I tried it out, but it doesn't fucking matter, it's coming off the list. Alright, next up. Dekin no Mogura, the Earthbound Mole. I did not see anyone talk about this at all. The only thing I know about this one is I think I saw a headline from an Anime News Network article of the review of it. Oop, accidentally hit the camera. Of a review of it, saying that it was incredibly mid. So let's find out if that is correct.
What the fuck did I just witness? That was just a bunch of rambly nonsense. And most of the characters are immensely fucking annoying. Just really fucking, like, not annoying in like a comedic way, just annoying in like the negativity of it all. It's so not fun to watch, but also kind of fascinating, because what the fuck was the chain of events in this? Also, minor subtitle quibble. I know after looking it up that a Kojian is a specific type of dictionary. But you can just call it a dictionary. We can see that it's really big. No one in the U.S. knows who's watching this show knows what a Kojian is, or more accurately, nobody cares that it's a Kojian. I'm sure that's relevant to like some kind of theme that's gonna pop up in this show. But just call it a dictionary, man. Or at least put like do the goddamn translator notes. Not that anybody does not that any official subtitlers do translator notes anymore, but for fuck's sake. Anyway, this was really annoying to watch, and everyone was fucking ugly as sin. It's not a pleasant show to look at, despite I will say the backgrounds are nice. They're very interesting. A lot of detail in them. But fuck me, this was annoying. I can't possibly fathom. I think it's just going to turn into like a supernatural monster of the week thing, probably. What the hell was that?
Alright, Mogura is gone. I don't know what the fuck I was watching there. Okay. Let's get into an end cap. Hopefully find some decent thing here with The Summer Hikaru Died. I've been seeing the manga around for this forever, and I've heard that this got a really solid anime adaptation from Cygames, I believe. Some people were complaining that it wasn't gay enough, as opposed to the homophobes who were complaining that it was too gay. So, I guess it's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's a complete adaptation either, so let's see what happens.
Oh boy, that was certainly a lot. As I expected a little bit. Just finished up all of The Summer Hikaru Died. It took me way longer than I was expecting. About a week. Although honestly, most of that was at the beginning of trying to get into it, because I made a video a while ago on my main channel called A Break From It All. I talked about this on Twitter a little bit, where I was watching the Dororo remake, and it just got so heavy, and the heaviness combined with so many other factors in my life at that point that I just had to stop watching it and go watch something happier like Precure. So hopefully the camera's not picking up the rain outside. We got a bit of a storm brewing. But that's kind of how I felt about this one. The first few episodes in particular, well, it doesn't get any less strenuous as it goes on, but just jumping into this, it is a very stressful watch. This is a very melancholic, tense, and dour series. It's a lot to tackle, especially if you have a lot of things going on in your life like I do. Like, by the time you are watching this video, I will be well into training for my next job. And technically, I am currently unemployed at the time of writing this, or of recording this, because I got about a 10-day window in between the end of my last job, which I was at for 6 years, and the next job. And I didn't dislike the other job, but it's just I can't keep living paycheck to paycheck, and I got an opportunity to have a really, really good job that's also going to be extremely stressful, but it's going to pay way more. And so I had a very the past couple days really hit me full force of I am throwing away being fairly secure but not entirely secure in a job that is mostly low stress that I'm really good at and very comfortable at, and jumping into something completely uncharted territory for me that I might fail at, and that's going to be very bad. But who knows? So I was in a very stressful state when I started this anime, and so I had to put it down for a few days, and then I came back to it on the Friday and Saturday of the week that I watched it, that I started watching it, and I was able to burn through the rest of it after finally getting over the hump of leaving my old job. But enough about me. Let's talk about the actual anime, because this is a very, as I said, a very heavy series tackling a lot of very complex emotional topics. Like, this is a series about a guy whose friend dies and comes back, whose body comes back inhabited by a deity that lives on the mountain that doesn't view life and death the same way that humans do. And also, it's just not the same guy who died on the mountain. And so our main character, Tsujinaka, I think that's his name. They actually don't say his name as much in the series as Hikaru. Or maybe I'm just imagining that. But anyway, so Tsujinaka is dealing with these extremely conflicting feelings around the fact that his friend is dead, but not dead in a sense. And also, it's extremely, extremely heavily implied that he had romantic feelings for Hikaru. Like, there's like talk about like how he didn't, like he was, about like, he has certain feelings about seeing Hikaru naked, or in certain ways. It's very, very obvious that there was at least a one-sided romantic interest. We didn't really get an entire view of real Hikaru's feelings towards, why don't I just call him Yoshiki? That's his first name. That's why I couldn't, yeah. We don't get the entirety of Hikaru's feelings for Yoshiki, so we don't entirely know how it was on that end, but at the very least we know that Yoshiki had some sort of romantic feelings for Hikaru, and so that makes it even more complicated and makes it even more so that he doesn't want to let go of the new Hikaru that is inhabited by this deity called Nonuki-sama, apparently. Or maybe that deity doesn't exist at all, because they throw a lot of twists and turns into the actual like lore of this series, the suspense thriller aspect of it all. Which for the most part was fairly entertaining, but also there were certain points where I was just like, my eyes just kind of glazed over, like I don't really care about this particular part of it. It's hard for me to care about certain aspects of it, I guess, just because they were purely lore-based, and so they didn't have quite as much emotional impact as a lot of the other stuff. But, yeah, there's a lot going on in this series. Like Yoshiki grappling with the fact that he is attaching himself to a monster, essentially, who kills at least one person and during the series, and almost kills another person. And we also have the new Hikaru essentially trying to learn how to be human, even though he really can't. Like, it's very firmly established that is just not something that he is capable of. And so there's that push and pull dynamic there that's very tense and very emotionally draining, as Yoshiki gets caught in this cycle of, this isn't Hikaru, I have to get rid of him. wait, no, I don't actually want to get rid of him. I think we gotta figure out some way to make this work. And then the new Hikaru does something again that's pretty fucked up, and then the cycle starts again, and it's this vicious cycle of Yoshiki trying to convince himself that everything is fine and everything will work out. Which, on the one hand, from a narrative standpoint, it gets a little, just ever so slightly tiresome, but from an emotional and thematic standpoint, it's really solid. It's just this, like, very emotionally taxing series, which is why I was struggling to get through it at the beginning in my current mental state. Aside from that, the lore stuff was fairly interesting for the most part. I'm definitely interested in seeing more of this. I forget if they even gave this. I forget what the guy's name with the sunglasses is, but I'm really interested in seeing how he fits into all of this. By the way, this is not a complete series at all. This is just season 1. I think they already announced the season 2. But I'm not sure. It definitely ends on a bit of a cliffhanger of sorts, with him showing up to Yoshiki and Hikaru on the beach. So I'm definitely interested to see where that's going. It's also got a lot of themes regarding, like, how small town life kind of, like, envelops itself and traps itself in a sort of way, and how old traditions trap the younger generations into the same familial struggles as previous generations. A lot of stuff like that was all pretty well executed. It's a really solid show narratively, especially like in terms of the character struggles and all that, very strong. Visuals also incredibly strong, though definitely had a few more glaring faults to them, I guess, than the narrative, I guess. Most obvious being there's a lot of CG character models in this that they use to try and scoot by. The lighting does a decent job of covering it up a lot of the time, but when there isn't interesting lighting to cover it up, like there's this gym scene where they're singing the school song and it's very clearly just rows upon rows of CG characters. If you've seen the series, it's the shot where the camera's sort of doing like a 360 vertical pan, and everything gets all inverted. That shot really was like, oh, this is these CG models don't look very good. But aside from that, this is a very visually engaging series. If not for Dress Up Darling, I would say this is certainly up there for being the most creative show visually of the season. A lot of abstract imagery, a lot of fucking with the character models in interesting ways, fucking with the framing in really interesting ways, and just these incredibly visceral and standout imagery and color design and such. And even on just the base level, the character designs are really solid. It reminds me a lot of the character designs for Chainsaw Man, actually. I wonder if they share a character designer. Because, like, I don't think this is Mappa. I think this is Cygames. I believe this is Cygames Pictures. So, not Mappa. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain this is Cygames Pictures. Yeah, no, I'm definitely sure this is Cygames. But the character designs look really similar to Chainsaw Man. Or maybe it's just like Yoshiki reminds me a lot of Aki. Right down to his personality as well. But yeah, the base character designs are really solid. Really like the look of this remote village. And then again, just so many mixed media things going into this. Like, there's one shot in I think it's the final episode, where they're just on a train, but like everything around them is like live action. Like, it's all live action shots of a train. At least I'm fairly certain. If it's not live action, it's really, really, really detailed CG animation. And so, like, the 2D character models really, like, are juxtaposed against that very starkly in a very interesting way. I'm still trying to think about what that means, like, cinematically. I think it's just sort of like them trying to, like, escape from the life that they're trapped in, but that doesn't quite make sense considering the context of the scene. I'll have to think about that for a little bit. But, like, a lot of the very, like, graphic imagery is really solid. The moments whenever the Nonuki-sama is leaking out of Hikaru's body always looks really terrifying and cool. The scenes of these like curses or ghosts or whatever they are always super threatening looking, to the point where, like, I don't have Netflix, so I just went to the cat site for this one, and so then I plugged my laptop into my TV to watch it, but my laptop is also really old, so it got to the point where, like, my laptop just couldn't handle those moments because they were so visually intense, I guess. Maybe it was just a bad video file, who knows. But it kept happening consistently, so whatever. But, yeah, this was a really, really compelling watch about a whole lot of very messy subjects, a lot of guilt, a lot of self-hate, a lot of yearning, a lot of clinging to a past that should be forgotten and left behind but keeps sticking around. And the philosophical concept of the Nonuki-sama monster is very interesting, and how it sort of fits into all of this. Yeah, really enjoyed this one. Definitely not going to come back to it anytime soon, just because it's so heavy. But, yeah, this was really good.
Alright, the summer Hikaru died is complete. We're going to scroll pretty high up on the list. We're going to put you in the number 11 spot. And we're giving you a light 8. Very good. Very heavy, but very good.